Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to the Peter and Ruffy Football Show. It is Monday. I'm Peter Martin. We were thinking about renaming it today. Our guest, Barry Ferguson. Should it be the Peter and Barry Show? We'll check the fine details of his contract and discuss that a little later on. This programme is all about those Scottish Cup semi-finals. Lots to talk about. It was a weekend at Hampden, 4 teams battling it out to try and reach the Scottish Cup final on May 25th. Yesterday at Hampden, it was full to the gunnels for Celtic against Aberdeen, and our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi looks back.
Celtic have a date in the diary for the treble as they set up a Scottish Cup final with Hearts. The Scottish champions were 3-0 victors over the 9 men of Aberdeen, who had a torrid day. The game was cagey until Ball was given a second yellow for a late challenge on Christie, who looks to have fractured a part of his face. Forrest then scored a rocket before Edouard notched from the spot in the second half and Rogic from distance finished the scoring. Young Ferguson was then sent off for a vicious tackle on the Australian midfielder, and manager McInnes was sent to the stands also after he reacted to sectarian abuse. Interim boss Neil Lennon felt that was the best he had seen his team play.
Well, it's certainly the best the team's played in the time, in terms of started the game very, very well, on the front foot, created good chances. You know, we could have been 1 or 2 up, I thought.
And it's Hampden heartache again for Derek McInnes and the Dons, despite the fact he felt they were in a good place before they were reduced to 10.
But I actually felt the 10 minutes or so prior to the sending off, we were finding our feet and getting into the game, and I thought we had weathered the storm for Celtic.
Well, he thought they'd weathered the storm. Derek McInnes talking there about the game, right up until the point where they lost a man. I think the game itself looked as if it was going to be the total opposite of Hearts against Inverness. It blazed open in 5 minutes and then it kind of quietened down, which I thought suited Aberdeen, Barry.
When I watched the game, I actually thought Celtic started really well, and then as Derek says, I think Aberdeen were quite happy. They thought at that stage they'd weathered the storm, so the game pretty much quietened down after 15 minutes. But I just felt Celtic were always a dominant team in possession of the ball, and I just thought, even if they had kept 11 men on the pitch, I thought at some stage Celtic were going to break them down.
Yeah, well, the key moment in the game, and the first part that really has gone against Aberdeen, was the sending off. Here's Neil Lennon's take on Dominic Ball receiving a second yellow for the challenge on Ryan Christie.
But for me, it is a second yellow. It's a real bad one. I don't think there's any real intention from Dominic to hurt Ryan, but he's late in the challenge, and you know, unfortunately, we've lost Ryan to what could be potentially a very bad injury. We heard, both myself and Derek heard the crack, so it was a hell of a challenge. And again, I oppose no real intent from Dominic. He was just late.
Well, thankfully later on Ryan Christie was conscious and okay. In contrast to Neil Lennon's assessment of it, Derek McInnes, the Aberdeen boss, thought maybe it was just ill-timed.
I didn't think it was a yellow card offence. It was Don Ball's first foul in the game. The second one, it's a difficult one for that. We've all played the game, and I mean, that ball bounces, both players have got to go for it, and it's ended up with young Ryan having a bad injury. And I think both players have to be committed to it. I don't think there was an elbow from I haven't seen it again, but I don't think there was an elbow or a flail in the arm. I think it was late, and I think it was totally accidental. I need to remind people about when Boyata took Gary Mackay-Stevens right out the cup final not so long ago. That was deemed for me a reckless challenge. It was late. Gary ends up in hospital. There was nothing. It wasn't a penalty kick. It wasn't a yellow card offence. And not that we were probably looking for it, because we can see these things happen. It's mistimed and it's accidental. But in that same 6 minutes or whatever that was, injury time, when Gary was getting treated, we lost a goal.
OK, give me your take on it, Barry. Was it the right call by the referee, Craig Thompson?
The first one, Ball's booking. I thought that wasn't a yellow card. The second one, look, I don't think he's went in with the intent to try and hurt Ryan Christie. He just mistimed it. As simple as that. I think it was two players fully committed to go and try and win the ball. Obviously Ryan's got there first and he's got a sore one, and it was a booking, but I don't think the boy Ball meant it in any way, shape or form to hurt Ryan Christie. And thankfully Ryan Christie's fine and he was up, as you had mentioned, he's up okay, conscious after the game.
Yeah, you being an uncle, it's never an easy time when you have to comment on things like this. This is Neil Lennon, the Celtic boss's take on the second sending off for Aberdeen, of course, Lewis Ferguson.
There's no argument, it's two-footed lunge, so it's a straight red. It was horrendous, yeah, it was horrendous, and that comes from frustration, whatever you want to call it, but you know, the referee had no choice really.
There was a moment in the game, Barry, where I thought they'd actually just, not only Lewis, but quite a few other teammates had just lost the plot. Yeah,
that's when you're wanting your experienced guys in the team to try and calm the situation down, because at a stage I did think that Aberdeen were getting in late in tackles and they were a bit all over the place, but I can't defend Lewis. Look, I know he's my nephew, but it was a two-footed lunge. It comes down to inexperience for me. That's when you're kind of looking. That's what I think Aberdeen missing, like a Graham Shinney. Maybe I've went over and says to Lewis during the game, listen, let's calm down and let's try and get on the ball. But I can't defend him. It was a sending off, and I'm sure Lewis will learn from it.
Yeah. Two quick points before we finish looking at Celtic Aberdeen. Of course, the one unsavoury moment, as ever, that seems to rear its ugly head in football was chanting from Celtic fans towards Derek McInnes. This prompted Derek McInnes to be sent to the stand for his reaction to it, something that, of course, he has apologised for.
I shouldn't react, I shouldn't react, and I'll take my punishment, and I was wrong to do so. I should be better than that. But it'll be interesting to see if everybody gets punished for the incident. But I shouldn't have reacted to it. I've heard that song 100 times aimed at me and I've never reacted to it. So I think the frustration maybe for the game has played a part in that. So the referee or the fourth official deemed my reaction a red card offence. If it is, it is. And I'll take my punishment for that.
Well, my view on it quite simply is, Barry, if the SFA don't react to that and offer some form of fine to Celtic for that incident, then I think we're only kidding ourselves on how we're going to address whether it be sectarianism, racism, the trouble within grounds. This needs to be stamped out.
Yeah, it just seems to be creeping in every single game we watch. Obviously the chance to Derek, and I'm glad that Derek's admitted, look, he was wrong in reacting. As I say, he's been through it 100 times before. I've been in similar situations myself, and sometimes it's better just to walk away. But something needs to clearly be done about this. It's happening far too often for me, and hopefully the SFA at some stage do something about it, because I'm sick of it.
Yeah, okay. One little footnote to the overall results. Celtic are in the Scottish Cup final. Here's Neil Lennon's take on possibly getting the job full time.
If the club perceives the best way forward is to go somewhere else, then who am I to argue with that? I'm here. I've only been here like 2 months or whatever, so I'm enjoying it to a certain degree. It's difficult because you're inheriting a very good team and they were going well, and you don't want to spoil that. So it's been a real balancing act for me on a personal level. But it's a good experience. Again, it's something that I've not sort of experienced before, and it's a good challenge. A really different kind of pressure than what I've faced before in my career.
He's delivering, Barry. He has spoken to Dermot Desmond. No promises made. Just Dermot saying to him, look, all the speculation about other managers is just, just dismiss it. That's just not happening.
Yeah, I think since Neil's come in, he's obviously delivered the results. I think that was their best performance yesterday. I know people are going to say Aberdeen went down to 9 men, but I thought even with 11 men on the pitch, I thought Celtic were the dominant team. They were a better team. But listen, Lenny knows he just needs to try and deliver results week in, week out. And obviously he's got them at the final. He needs to make sure he wins that final now. Because I think if he does, he's got to be in with a good chance for me.
Okay, you can give us your view across social media on Twitter, Facebook and of course YouTube on the performance from Celtic. They're into the Scottish Cup final and the treble is still on. Well, what about their opponents? We'll be discussing Hearts against Inverness after this week's quiz question. There was a wry smile across Barry Ferguson's face as if, the full week, it's easy enough. I think he knows one of his, well, I think he would have been a former teammate.
Yeah, he was a former teammate.
Yeah, what was it like?
I liked him. His record for Rangers in terms of goals was excellent. I know a lot of people think he was a failure when he came up, but I thought technically, I keep forgetting I'm going to say his name here. I won't do it. But technically, very good.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, don't give us any more clues. It should be easy enough for someone to win a T-shirt in their own team's colours, or team T-shirts will be handed out to one lucky winner. Okay, what about that second Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden Park? It was Saturday. I was hoping for a good game. First 45 minutes forgettable. Second 45, well, it started to live up to the billing. And our reporter Gabriel looks at Hearts against Inverness.
Hearts made it to their first Scottish Cup final since their 2012 victory as they beat Inverness Caledonian Thistle 3-0. All of the goals came in the second half, all from set pieces, and in the end it was comfortable for the Jambos. Ikpeazu opened the scoring, firing in from close range. Souttar's goal was similar and Clare showed no nerves from the spot. The pressure is now off Levine, who said that winning the cup would be his greatest achievement as a manager and was pleased with the control his team performed with.
Well, particularly once we got the first goal, I felt we were in complete control. And then other than the free kick that Bobby saved, I don't recall any major chances for Inverness.
For Cali, their season can still be a success via the playoffs, but boss John Robertson felt the luck was just missing on Saturday.
The little bit of luck you need for a championship team to beat a premiership team was what killed us, because Chalmers' free kick's incredible. The save from Zlamal's as good as I've seen all season. A fingertip was all it was, but he's got it on the underside of the bar. Because if we score then, I think it rocks Hearts.
Yep, a little bit of luck on some decisions from the match officials can change a game in your fortune. It didn't quite work out for Robbo and his Inverness side. The first half was absolutely dire. I noticed Peter Haring mentioned that he felt as if it was an insult to suggest that Inverness could cause a shock in this game because of the stature of Hearts and the players they have at their disposal. But I think what we were looking at was Craig Levine hinting that Haring and Ikpeazu might not make the game, and those two players making the game, I think, swayed it in Hearts' favour.
Yeah, they're two big players for Hearts, there's no doubt about that. I fancied Inverness for the fact as I thought they two were going to be missing, but they two coming in obviously make a difference to the Hearts team. But as you mentioned, it wasn't a great 45 minutes the first half. And obviously in the second half, Hearts get the first goal, which I think is always important in a semi-final, and they went on to, for me, deserve to win.
Yeah, of course, Craig Levine, as a player, came so close to winning honours for Hearts, and nothing would please him more than delivering the Scottish Cup.
It's a very proud moment for me, and it'll be even prouder, obviously, when the cup final comes round. Yeah, I've done a lot of things in football, but to come back and win a cup for Hearts would be the best thing that I've ever done.
I like him in after-match press conferences because, quite simply, he is actually operating on a game-by-game basis of opinion. He is criticised 1 minute and then suddenly it stops if they get a positive result. He's divided the Hearts support at times this season.
Yep. I actually, when they've got a fully fit squad, they're a strong 11 Hearts.
Yeah.
I I think they're a good team. He's missed that throughout the season, and obviously that's going to affect the team. There's no doubt about it. But you can see how proud he was there. He's desperate to get into a cup final, and I read a quote today that Stephen Naismith might be available for that final. So if you're going to get Stephen Naismith back, who I think is a major player for Hearts, then they're going to fancy their chances in the final.
Well, I was going to say to you, if Stephen Naismith suddenly turns up in the starting 11 on the 25th of May, Barry, I would look and say to myself, Hearts are more than capable of a shock. The only thing that, I'll be blunt about it, they are a hard watch without Naismith, because at times it can be route one or it's a set piece. Other than that, he's keen to emphasise they play a bit of football, but not enough for me without Naismith in the side. No,
Naismith's key for me. When Hearts have got him in that starting 11, he has a difference. There's no doubt about that. They miss him. It's not just about his ability on the pitch. It's what he can bring in terms of driving the team forward, and obviously he's an experienced campaigner. So Hearts with Stephen Naismith, they'll fancy their chances in the final, no doubt about that.
Yeah, this one, it's got all the makings of, one, it's going to be a sellout, that's the first thing. We will have, in a couple of weeks' time, the argument about should it be a 50-50 split. We have that every year anyway, why not? But I think East versus West, it's got the makings of a great game. Do you, with Naismith in there, do you fancy them to stop what is, it's like a juggernaut trying to get towards the treble for Celtic?
Well, as I said, Hearts it's simple. They're going to be stronger with Stephen Naismith in. But if you're asking me who do I think will win, I think Celtic have got the better quality. There's no doubt about that.
OK, let's move on from the two Scottish Cup semi-finals. You can give us your thoughts on the final, who you think is going to triumph. Switch your attention to some of the other news that's been happening in Scottish football over the course of the weekend and, of course, today. Dave King's come out. Obviously, he's written a statement to most of the season ticket holders. Here it is here. We're now within tangible reach of Rangers becoming the dominant force in Scottish football again. The team requires a further upgrade, and the board will continue to back Mark and Stephen. Now, on that basis, do you agree with them first and foremost?
Well, they need to strengthen if they're going to challenge Celtic, and it's only Celtic that they do need to challenge. They have been a dominant force again this season. They are dominant, but Rangers need to start winning trophies. As simple as that. Be disappointed with the Scottish Cup scenario, with Aberdeen result. But they need to start delivering trophies as quickly as possible. But it's good to see that he's obviously said there that there are going to be funds available now. I think guys like Ryan Kent, Rangers need to try and keep guys like that if they're going to try and push Celtic next season. But it's clear that they're going to back Steven Gerrard again, and which I think is going to be the most important summer at Rangers in a long time. Yeah,
it is going to be huge because Celtic will have 8 in a row. They'll be going for 9 in a row. There's a 5% increase in the season ticket, so you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to get even more money to back him. There could be the transfer of Alfredo Morelos, which would give them additional funds as well. I can see what he's doing. He's trying to load the bases and make sure the season ticket holders come back as well. If you were putting yourself in Steven Gerrard's shoes, what type of players do you think are absolutely essential to derailing Celtic on what you've seen so far? And this, of course, you'll have to weigh up, Barry, within the mix that I think, again, is nobody really knows what the response is from Celtic, whether it's a new manager or Neil Lennon with funds.
Well, going on in Celtic, I think there's no doubt in my mind Celtic are going to strengthen in the summer. I think they are going to go out and spend a bit of money. They have serious money in the bank. Rangers will know that. For me, I still think Rangers are 3-4 quality players away from being a real challenge now. Whether Stephen Davis and Jermaine Defoe stay next year, I think now you're starting to see the best of Stephen Davis. He's starting to get a bit of game time. Hopefully he's going to be at Rangers next season. And Jermaine Defoe, you know what you're going to get for him. And as I mentioned briefly, Ryan Kent, for me, Rangers have got to try and pull out all stops. Whether Steven Gerrard can get a favour off Liverpool, he has got to be a major signing.
Yeah, I hate to be, trying to put myself as a manager on this one. If I was looking at Rangers in the way that they got success before with Walter or Graham Souness, I would look at that side and say to myself, OK, you've got McGregor, you now need 2 absolutely top drawer centre halves.
Yep.
And then from there, if it was me, I'd be looking at 2 top drawer goal scorers. You've got the middle. You've got lots of midfield players that can do something. 2 top drawer goal scorers, 2 centre halves, and suddenly the spine starts to look good.
Yeah, but I mean that's where you build a strong foundation right through the spine of a team. For me, I do think we need a top centre back. There's no doubt in my mind. You're saying two. I'm probably saying one. I think Golson could maybe go on with. He's playing with a top quality centre half. The midfield, I'm pretty happy with Rangers midfield at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty strong. Up front, are they going to try and cash in Morelos? Who knows? But I still think we need a couple of quality wide men, and hopefully one of them is going to be Ryan Kent.
Okay, just a footnote, and I'm not going to finish this programme without saying it. We're struggling for a manager of the year. Dick Campbell looks a good bet. Wow, won it with Arbroath. Absolutely fantastic. They're going to the Championship.
Unbelievable. I've spoke to him actually a couple of times on the phone the last couple of months, asking him about a few players, but listen, what an achievement that is for Arbroath.
Yeah, I spoke to him too, but I had to bleep out most of the conversation. Congratulations to Dick Campbell, one of life's gentlemen, and of course such an infectious character, and everybody in the area of Arbroath are absolutely high as kites about that. Champions of League One, well done to them. No Ruffy today, but he'll be back with us tomorrow. Thanks to Barry, from myself, Peter Martin. Thank you very much for watching the show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.